It's good. What is up, Mac?
Hi, how's it going?
Good. I'm excited to chat with you. Sorry you went home.
Thanks.
It felt like unfair the way that it happened because that question was just so random, or was it not random?
I think it was random. I don't think there was any way for us to know the answer. None of us were even a little bit close. So, random or not, like it was kind of our answers were random.
Yeah. But you guys slept in that castle the night before.
Yes.
So do you feel like now looking back, there's anything you could have done differently or maybe search the castle around?
I don't think they would have necessarily let us just kind of go searching around, but I mean there we do all kind of anytime we're anywhere have some wandering eyes. And the reason actually I went with the 1500s is when Shane was up in the castle, there was like a little plaque on I think it was a sink and it said 15 something something and he had told me that beforehand just kind of randomly. And so that is kind of the only date I had to go off of, and I think he also put the 1500s for the same reason. Um, in retrospect, I guess maybe the castle was built and then they brought that sink later. But that was kind of the only hard piece of evidence that I had. So that's why I went with that. But
Hmm.
I should have known older than that. Like everything in Europe is crazy old. 1500s pretty modern for them.
Hmm. Is there another like deal breaker that you have in mind that could have been a better option or for the future?
Um I wish it had been something. Now, this is, of course, selfish, right? I wish it had been something more trivia based, a question about Salzburg or a question about Austria that, like, I mean, I guess that was a trivia based question, but like something that was more in our face that we could have seen that it was like, were you paying attention? Did you remember seeing this? Or just like general geographical knowledge or something like that. I wish selfishly just because I think I would have had a better shot, but at the end of the day, whatever. We all had, an equal opportunity to guess a date, so I can't be too upset about it.
For sure. And it seems like you're leaving off good terms with everybody. So who do you want to see win? Like who were you rooting for when you left that bus?
I was really rooting mostly for Biggie to win. I kind of assumed it'd be either Biggie or Rick who would win, and I just felt closer to Biggie, so wanted him. Still would be happy with him winning. Yeah, at the beginning it was Kim who I thought was going to win, but obviously she went out last episode. But I was really hoping to see a Kim victory.
Hmm.
Um, Aside from myself, I would have also loved to see a Mac victory. But
Yeah.
Kim, I think would have been a really fun one, and I think she would have had it honestly. But
I mean, Kim
yeah,
was funny and stuff, but she was like refusing to work with anybody. And I feel like you have to make friends on the show. And I think
yeah,
that's how everybody guessed Salzburg is because people told other people. And I
yeah.
also think Peter's like really smart. Why do you
Mhm.
think he decided to pick you?
Um, because I think he knew that he could beat Shane and Janae later on if it came head to head or something like that. But I think of the three of us, he knew I would be the toughest one to beat. Also, obviously, he was working with Janae. And Shane, I don't think would, I think Shane played a really, really strong social game. But if it were down to the two of them, Shane and Peter, I think Peter would have assumed that he could have beaten Shane in that moment. Whereas me, I think it would have been a little bit more difficult, is what he probably was thinking. So I
Hmm.
think that's why. I wish he had made the emotional decision, that he and Shane had gotten in that fight. And at first I was like, oh, perfect. Shane picked the worst possible time to pick a fight with this guy. Like, I'm good. But then he was really taking his time thinking about it. And so then I was like, oh, shoot, he's not going to be emotional in this moment. It's tough.
Well, I don't really want Shane to go home yet because I am invested in the love story that is Allie and Shane, and I want to see how
Yeah.
that transpires. Do you have hope for them? Is there going to be a surprise engagement at the end? Do we know if they're still together? Like, what was your thoughts being on the bus with them?
I when I was on the bus, I was like not a touchy, lovey, emotional person. I've like always personally been against PDA, so seeing them always together, it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, can you guys get a room? And like my bed was right in front of Shane's, and then Allie, so like I could hear them talking to each other all night. If I get out to go to the bathroom, I have to ask them to stop holding hands. And so like to me, it was a lot. But also like I think they were cute and sweet and played a good game together. So who knows what'll happen?
Well, you might know. A few people probably know.
I
I'll
might know.
Yeah, I'll be watching to see if like they end up stabbing each other in the back, and I look forward to getting a relationship update.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
it's definitely a close game, so it could go a lot of ways. I also think Biggie has a great chance of winning because he's really
Mhm.
smart. I think Rick has a chance. I kind of feel like Janae is just floating by her likability. What do you think about Janae's strategy?
I think Janae, I think that's a good summary of it. Like, I think she's just kind of floating by. Like, I don't think, me, Shane, Biggie, and Allie really wanted both Peter and Janae off the bus, but we definitely perceived Peter to be a bigger threat than Janae. So I think, there is a chance that she could just kind of skate on through just because like she's not really perceived as a threat, but yet also she's working with people, so she's getting information. So like it's gonna almost have to be her v Peter v Rick for her to not know where the location is, or a situation like mine where it's kind of somewhat randomized. But no, I think she's playing a good game in that sense, and that nobody's really thinking too hard about her.
Where do you want to see them go the rest of the season? You're going to be watching like everyone else, but do you think they'll
Yeah.
go to other places in Europe? Like, do you think the challenges will get harder? Like, what do you think we can expect on the final few episodes?
So every single day when we were told that there was a challenge, we were really hoping that there would be some sort of skydiving event. And so I'd love to see that, though I'd be really jealous. And then Slovenia is my favorite country in Europe. And so again, I would be so jealous if they went there. But like some sort of rafting through Slovenia, I think would be so beautiful and stunning and also very tricky because I think most people don't know a lot about that country.
I've been to Slovenia.
Yeah? Did you love
Mhm.
it?
I did. I went to
Yeah.
Ljubljana and I did the
Yeah.
whitewater rafting. It was so
Nice. Oh my God,
beautiful.
it's so beautiful. Yeah. And bled.
Yes, Lake Bled is stunning.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I hope they go there next.
Me too. It'd be so cool. But then I'd be so pissed that I missed it by an episode.
I know, but then you could just fly there. Because think about it,
That's
they're just on the bus the whole time and it's dark. So,
that's
like,
true.
they're not really exploring the countries anyway. So,
That's
did you feel like that when you were on the bus?
yeah, it was, I mean, I kind of knew that that was the gist of it, and so like loved it, but then it was also, like being in the Alps. I think the like Austrian drive and the Swiss drive were two of the like, dang, I wish we could have seen out the window. Everywhere else, like driving through France, not particularly beautiful, and also I've done it. Amsterdam, cool city, but the drive around it, not that cool.
Mhm.
But like Switzerland and Austria. Luckily, because I was eliminated, I did get to drive through Austria with visible windows. But I do, wish I could have seen all the Swiss stuff.
For sure. Well, how did being an attorney help you on in this show? And do you think it hurt you at all?
Certainly didn't help at all. Um, I think it hurt in the sense that, so on the very first day when we were all introducing ourselves, everybody was going around and apparently saying their jobs, and I didn't realize that, so I didn't mention that I was an attorney. And then it came up later because I mentioned it. I was never intending to keep it a secret, but I think people thought that because I didn't disclose it initially, I was trying to keep it a secret. And so then they were like, oh, she's a liar and she's an attorney, so she's a double liar. So now she's not to be trusted. And so I think it kind of hurt me in that sense, but like I think there were plenty of other things that hurt me more than that, but it certainly didn't help. Like, especially my job, like I write the laws for the state of Texas. There was no Texas statutes anywhere in this game,
Hmm.
so not a lot of benefit there. There's some aspect of like conversating with a bunch of different people who you have nothing in common with that I've I guess somewhat developed a skill about, but I think a lot of people have that skill. I don't think I had to go to law school to learn how to hold a conversation.
For sure. A couple quick questions before we go. How did you get casted for the show?
I saw a TikTok. I thought it was a scam, but they didn't ask for my credit card information. So I was like, I guess I'll just answer these questions and like it's probably nothing, but who cares? And then a few months later, heard back from them. But yeah, it was
Mhm.
just middle of the night TikTok scrolling.
So it's just really random that you ended up here.
Super random. Yeah, I'd never applied for any other show, never had any interest, but I just saw this and was like, oh, I think I'd be really good at this. This sounds super fun. So I guess I'll do it.
Yeah. And who would you have voted off if you got the question correctly?
Um, that's really tough. It would have either have been
Oh.
For opposite reasons. I knew Peter and Rick were working together, so want to break up that alliance because I think Rick is a strong player. On the other hand, I wanted to be really close in with Biggie, and I knew Shane was kind of ahead of me in Biggie's eyes. So if I'd gotten rid of Shane, then that would obviously break that up, and then it would kind of be me and me and Biggie versus Peter and Rick. And I think that would have been strong.
Mm. Okay, well, you answered all of my questions. So thank you so much for your time. It was so
Of
nice to
course.
meet you. Where can everybody find you on Instagram?
At Mack Fitzgerald, plain and simple.
All right, I love it. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
Bye.
you. You too. Bye.